Peace, y'all. Before we get started, I felt compelled to remind everyone to stay safe and stay abreast of all the atrocities happening around the world. The people of Palestine, Tigray, Congo, Sudan, Haiti, and countless other territories are currently fighting for their rights and their lives. And if you're choosing to take action, please take every precaution you can. Stay hydrated, stay in groups, cover your face, and please, more than anything, don't lose hope. I've been leaving links to organizations and resources at the bottom of every episode description for a good minute, so please go check those out for places to donate and to find ways to take action today. We're not free until all oppressed people in the States and abroad are free. Much love, stay strong. Now let's keep this shit moving. What's good, y'all? My name is Dylan Green, and this is Real Notes, a space dedicated to blurring the cultural and artistic lines between rap and film. I'm here to chop it up with everyone from rappers and producers to journalists and video directors about their relationship to movies and how, if at all, film inspires their craft. My guest this week is Arizona rapper Jade. We spoke about Kai Cenat and the pros and cons of streaming culture, the Megan Thee Stallion documentary and the nature of celebrity propaganda, the magic of video stores, Undercover Brother, the Pursuit of Happyness, our favorite movie soundtracks, moving from California to Arizona, and the 5-year journey and creative process behind her debut project, The Sound the Trees Make, produced entirely by Esteban. Come fuck with us. What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to for me this is a nice little late night edition of Real Notes. It's 9:10 on a Monday. I almost said Monday morning. It's 9:10 on a Monday night. It's 6:10 over on the West Coast. I burned my y'all can't see it, but I burned my hand on yeah. Like I was making me and my sister one of my favorite things to eat ever. It's this like recipe of like crispy braised chicken thighs over fennel pasta. I gripped the fucking pan wrong.
I saw that in your story.
Like it was like it just needed to have like that was a victory lap dinner. I only posted that because I was like I worked hard to get it. So I'm like I'm recovering aloe vera, water, Noah. So Dylan Green, CineMasai, got a lot of names, do a lot of shit outside, inside, all sides. And I'm with somebody who y'all don't know yet, but you will. I mean, like I was asleep for a good minute because like the project this person put out came out almost 6 months ago. No, exactly 6 months ago at this point. Damn near. A mutual friend of ours, somebody y'all might know named Overcast, put me on, and I did my digging and my Googles and was like, who's this? And like we were saying off camera, sometimes it's just as simple as like, oh, this is cool. Who is this? Yeah. Oh, they have an album. Let me listen to it. Yeah. Bam. And then that was it. Her name's not kJADE. Her name's not kJADE. It's just Jade. Spelled kJADE, but it's just Jade.
Correct. Correct.
We got fucking Jade in the house tonight. Like incredible rapper. The Sounds the Trees Make is out now everywhere. Go find it. It's honestly like one of my such a pleasant surprise, like a really cool thing that I just didn't know existed until a month and a half ago. And I just Jade, thank you for the work. Thank you for taking like I said, like you don't know me from anybody. Thank you for taking the time to come kick it with me about bullshit.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Dylan. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. I'm a certified yapper just myself. So, giving me the platform to even connect with you. Like I said, if we're in community too, it's just, I love, to share space to discuss not only music as a conversation, but movies and yeah, just getting a formal introduction too. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. It's listening to this project and just like seeing like the handful of interviews you've done, seeing the Danny Brown shout out, like that made like that made my heart that just did my heart so good. And it's just like we're still at that point where people are still kind of coming to you and still figuring out who you are, but it's just it's just like it's a very I've been using this word a lot lately, but it's a very tender moment and it's just like
Right.
I'm happy to kind of be here at this point and just like break some of this shit down because like
Yeah.
you're talking some cash shit on this project and through everything else you do. So
Thank you.
no
Thank you.
doubt. Let me ask you the first question I ask everybody who
Yeah.
comes on here, which is what was the last movie or TV show you watched that you had a strong opinion about?
Last movie or TV show that I watched, does Kai Cenat stream count? No, that's not a movie or TV show. I was like,
You'd be the first. So honestly, go ahead and talk to me about that first.
yeah, let's do it. Okay, so yeah, Kai Cenat stream, first off, Black All Star for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Just super super goated, such a positive energy. I'm not big on watching his stream or streaming. Well, I guess like I'll circle around, but like him specifically, clearly he's so iconic. The way that he kind of steps forward and it does all the craziest shit, but it's so simple. Like niggas call him the Black iCarly. he just had Miranda Cosgrove on there. Like he's so turned. And but I also feel like he brings like to streaming and to media this like a really, I mean, streaming itself is very engaging. Like there's the incentive and motivation of numbers and people coming in and like funneling through and making suggestions and telling you what to do.
Like
And
real
like
time shit too. Yeah.
in real time, and he's always counting it too, like it very much so matters to him. And I think, as dystopian as that sounds, like I like the warmth that he brings to it. I really fuck with dude. But it's so interesting to just kind of see like how a handful of people can like kind of connect to one person's conscious and like
Mm-hmm.
get him pedaling in certain directions, whether it be positively or whether it's like, bro, this nigga is literally about to burn his whole fucking house down. Like it's it's crazy, but in a good way, and it's not too concerning. It's pretty lighthearted, but yeah, like that's that. I was just like, I really fuck with dude, and I was watching the Glorilla interview or
Yeah.
tour or hangout session. They were hanging out for like 8 hours, so yeah.
Yeah, no, the one where the one where she said his breast stink.
Yeah, yeah. Bro, I've
See,
been watching that shit in bits. I didn't even get to that part myself, but I saw it on Twitter.
yeah, me too.
Yeah, like I gotta watch it. Like I'll be like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 30 minutes, and like I still am not done, nigga. It's like it's a really a 3 hour, 8 hour hangout session. We only got 3 hours, 4 hours of it though.
Damn. Yeah, like
Yeah.
so I'm gonna be upfront. I don't watch Sunstream very often
Mhm.
or at all, only because like streaming is something that I really like, but I'm just like never like I never tap into streams. Like I have like a
Yeah.
handful that I'm like, I'm gonna go check this out at some point, and then I
Yeah.
just never do. Like,
Yeah.
and like Kai is somebody who like I'll see him, like obviously like you said, Black All Star. He has
Mhm.
buddy on his shit. He just
Mhm.
had Denzel on his shit. I think like either today or
Mhm.
yesterday
Yeah.
or over the weekend or some shit. And like the the only
Yeah.
like like there'll be certain things where I'll like laugh and it's funny to me, and then I see
Mhm.
like the jail shit kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not gonna lie.
Right.
Like that
Right.
shit kind of had me a little fucked up. So like
Yeah,
I
he does the craziest challenges where it's like it's so lighthearted that it's like she gets so lighthearted that it's questionable.
yeah. Yeah. But like I'm also coming at this as somebody who doesn't watch the stream religiously, isn't
Right.
like fully tapped into every streamer ever. Like I obviously know like the aesthetic and and like I watch shit, but I don't I just like I saw the prison shit and I was like, this makes me feel kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time,
Kids
then it
level.
just yeah, it's one of those things I always want to take more time and really like dive into and watch and really come at it with like an informed perspective, whether it's like
Mm-hmm.
good or bad. But then I'll
Mm-hmm.
see him do some shit like have Miranda Cosgrove on or like
Mm-hmm.
dispute Kamala Harris coming to try to be on his shit or like whatever. Like I don't even know if that ever like actually happened, but I know it was a
He
story.
right there.
Like I'm
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still kind of blown that they didn't actually. I don't know if it actually if they tried to do it, but it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter.
The
He
Democratic Party been on a super big press run, like a super
yeah,
like Barack Obama been interviewed in places I didn't realize. Like, while he's getting his haircut, that one YouTube channel where they interviewing bro. Kamala Harris came out. I mean, I don't think that was really an interview, but she came out like here. You know, she was like at the local restaurant out here. Like she just the Democratic Party been everywhere doing everything.
Yeah, but not the right things.
I mean, yeah, they've been connected. They've been. I think they're connected with the youth. They're connected with the media. Hella. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they were. Yeah, it was an interesting campaign that we can get into that another time. I have a lot of feelings about Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party.
Right, for sure.
But Kai's stream is something that I want to get into more often at some point. Don't really know yet, but like, yeah, it's like, like at its best, it seems super wholesome,
right,
and good vibes and all that. So
right. Behind it though, yeah, like that's why I mentioned when it really is connecting to someone's consciousness. Like for him, it's the number, it's the interaction, it's also the fact that that's like what he feeds his family, his people with, and himself. And but like it's still no different than going into a job and the motivation, the disconnect, the disconnect between you going into your job and you're getting money and you're making sure that you can like get paid. And then for him, like it's similar, just is on a world stage. And he has to set the stage every day and keep it interesting and prompt himself to do certain things that are controversial to catch attention. And it controls, someone's consciousness at a certain point to where that was really my point. Like it's interesting and it's wholesome, but it's also like the fact that like people could tell him what to do. Like it's like Jackass, literally, like it's like while it might be like you can see it from one perspective, say it's iCarly, it's also like Jackass. It's like really like pushing in boundaries. And some people, I don't think Kai's an adrenaline junkie necessarily, but in some way people who opt for fame, I believe, are. And fame is a punishment. So it's like having too much adrenaline. So like having to witness that is I like participating, but I think what keeps me from constantly watching streams is that at some point you're watching such a vulnerable space and place of people. Like the 24-hour streams, it's like, holy shit.
no.
First off, I don't have the time. Yeah.
We shouldn't have access to people for 24 hours, man. Like I don't,
except for our people.
Yeah. Like like outside of that, like I don't need to watch what a stranger in like Hong Kong is doing for like 24 hours. Like it's just like, I don't know. It's it's
a social experiment.
It is a social experiment, and there's just like certain how do I even want to put this? Like privacy's cool. I like privacy. I don't need to be in front of a camera 24 hours a day. But that's just me, like I like being able to sit alone and like talk myself through my thoughts on occasion. I talk to myself a lot, but it's also nice to be able to do that with people on a camera occasionally and kind of share in a collective experience. But there's of course like a barrier for me where it's like, okay, this is OD. I need to go back over here and not be around it no more. So I feel you 100%.
That it crosses a certain threshold, and privacy is like really honorable in the human experience. And I think that's one of, it's not like it's technology, but introducing privacy has literally changed so much of the human condition, that like for most people it's become a necessity, and to go beyond that, I mean, for a social experiment, yes, but like decidedly to always give that away just makes you so vulnerable. But like, to round up my strong opinion is like, it's really, really, I love kind of what it does to streaming and visibility. And yes, at its best, it is super fun and wholesome and lighthearted. And it's also just interesting and a clear display of like how numbers and people can like really connect to one person's conscious and motivate and control that, leaving impressions based on how vulnerable you are.
100%. Like there's this what's it called? Me and my lady were watching Chicago Med like over the course of like all of October. And there's an episode where they have a streamer come into the hospital, and like his whole channel is just dedicated to like, he literally does whatever the comments tell him to do. Like he'll like be like, oh, should I like he's like, should I eat a battery or not eat a battery? And they'll
Yeah,
like
bro.
vote, and he's got it, and he's just like, his whole thing is like, if they vote that I eat the battery, I eat the battery. So like
Holy shit.
he's in the or like, I don't think that actually happens, but it's like that type of shit. So like he needs to get surgery because he has like something's wrong with him. So he needs to get surgery, and the chat votes that he shouldn't get the surgery, and the doctors are trying to be like, bro, like, you're gonna die if you don't get this fucking surgery.
Like,
He's
what
like,
the fuck?
oh, sorry, the
Yeah.
chat told me I can't do it. And it's just like, like, like to me, that type of shit feels like it feels like when Law and Order does like a rap episode, or like they do like an episode about like drill, and you can tell that people clearly have no idea how this shit works.
Yeah.
Like, like there's some times where it's just like, you could tell the writers like just figured out who like
it's very derogatory.
like they just like figured out what the shit is and don't fully understand it, but it's like just wild enough for you to think and be like, hey, there probably is one person out there who's like just like this,
right, yeah.
Maybe, but but I don't know. Like, I think about like there's such a generational gap and divide between like people who, well, see, I don't even want to say that because my lady watches a lot of streams. So, but like generally, there seems to be like a generational divide between people who might watch a show like Chicago Med and somebody who might watch a stream. So,
you know what I think it is? I think it's like different demographics more than it is just generations. You can find more of a likelihood in certain like generational, brackets, but I really think certain demographics, like between you know like who's really online and what's your motivation to be online, who, your gender, your age, your I wouldn't say city, but just different demographics, like your interests and niches too have different demands. Like like I've been in a battle rap Discord, I've been in like music Discord are huge, like for producers, of course gaming Discords, stuff like that. So like paying attention to different streamers and stuff like that, like, and the demands of streaming. Sometimes people just go on Instagram live, get it off. People used to go on Periscope on Twitter, but like if you need a bigger platform, you become a streamer depending on the demand of your niche. And I think certain demographics capture that more rather than it is like certain communities. People who are baking, there could be a baking Discord, but like we're not watching people let the dough rise for 48 hours. So
right.
different things that need more of a community, have a higher demand for community.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like I'm not super into streams, but I've been on Discord for like a decade, or like or like really close to a decade, like ever since it first, like when it was like only for gamers, because like I game like crazy. So it's like obviously there's like so many music Discords, like for specific people, for specific kinds of music. I have a Discord server that's small, but I love y'all, my patrons. Thank you so much. But like it's I'm just always, this whole show is about intersections and all about just like interconnectivity between different forms of media. So I'm always fascinated by like seeing like a 40-year-old TV writer's interpretation of what a streamer might be, or like even what like a 20, 21, 22-year-old streamer's idea of a thing like that might, like I'm like, I can't help but connect those threads in that way and just think like, what if, like, that's just me, like that's kind of, I guess that's just me saying that I'm really interested and fascinated by the stuff I've seen and the stuff I've heard, but I'm not locked in enough to know. I'm no expert. I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I hope that wasn't too. I hope that wasn't too circly.
No, you stuck the landing. You stuck the landing perfectly. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Talk to me about the last movie or TV show you watched and you had a strong opinion about.
Yeah. Movie or TV show. You know what? I'm gonna say it. It was that Megan Thee Stallion documentary, bro.
I knew you were gonna say it. I saw you tweeting about it. See, I'm mad because I'm mad because I just edited a piece about it for my site, but I haven't
Cool.
watched it yet. So
Yeah. Okay.
talk to me about it, please.
All right. So, how descriptive do you want me to be? Because I'm gonna give you my opinion regardless, but like I can really take you there depending on if you just want it to be like, all right, I'm watching it and I've never seen it before, or do you want like Jade's digest and then you're gonna go watch it?
Um, hmm.
Because well, basically, you want me to spoil it or not?
Go ahead, spoil it. That's cool.
I mean, yeah,
I'm a watch it regardless. You know.
right. Twitter probably already spoiled a lot for you, anyways. Obviously, you saw my tweet. So, like, so basically, I'm watching it, and I feel like I am not the biggest Meg Thee Stallion fan, but I respect her so much, and I feel like also like getting her side of the story is just kind of critical to how much rah there's been, and just kind of bearing witness to that. It was, first off, the way it was stringed together. I don't know when her team decided exactly to start creating the documentary. Said we need to make a documentary, bitch, because there's a lot going on. Like, I don't know when they said that, but it looked
Mm-hmm.
like they had footage for a great while. I feel like we were just an artist on the come up, and it very much so, like, Loki, the first half of the movie, documentary, it very much gave, I'm gonna come up, and these are my people. And then when it hits that climax, if you will, then it became, centralized around that. That was clearly, when she was shot, that was like obviously the climax, and it became part of this, like the story that is her rise to fame, and what takes it up in the notoriety is that shifting point. And so watching it beforehand was just like motivating on the tip, where it's like, artist grinding. When she lost her mother, she was already going through things, and as a person who relates, it was just like hella respect. And so after that point, it was like an anime throughout the whole thing. Actually, from the beginning, there's literally animation. Like, I don't know what artists they had in there, but like, they, to narrate the story, they had all the anime scenes and tidbits in there. Um, but yeah, for a point, where they're like broadcasting the notoriety that she was receiving, and the negative opinions, I was like, obviously this is propaganda entirely, but do we see it from the angle of like, well, is this all just like her trying to use what she's been through in her life to like tip over to, is it just tipping over to kind of lessen the blow of her actions? Because she ends up saying stuff like, I lied to like this uh television interviewer about my relationship or something. Again, something that Twitter totally
Right.
spoiled for everybody. But
Right. Right.
I mean, like, it's also just like, bitch, I would have lied too. So that was a lot of people's response. And seeing
Yeah.
that, it was like, I think it was actually just when you go through a hardship and then you get more hardships, and you're like, bro, I'm already going through hard. I think all of the hardships she was experiencing, and actually that being documented, like well documented too, not only because when she was on a come up, this is all happening, but that was a point that sent her career up, when she's going to court and issuing all that shit out. It was just a very clear indicator of, because we have very few people who are directly this famous as she is in the world. It's something that I think some people relate to, is when you go through a hardship and then some bullshit happens, and you're like, man, I was already going through some shit. Why is this happening right now?
Yeah.
And seeing how she dealt with that was definitely something I related to, and just had a lot of respect for it. Sent a bitch in tears. Nonetheless, I think it was just about how she handled it, and not even just like on some human shit. It was just really, really it's heartwarming to see somebody make something out of their situation, but I also just wondered watching it, because obviously it's a piece of propaganda altogether,
Right.
and watching all the negative perspectives that people have of it. Is it just something that genuinely just happened, and we literally had this well documented beforehand, but we decided to compile it to make a documentary? Is this a natural conflict that actually ended up being climactic, or are we trying to, like, usher in some type of propaganda for this tale? Is it both? I don't know, but nonetheless, I feel like, – I personally know it is both, but,
Yeah.
as a person who enjoyed it and my heart was warm about it, like I feel like niggas be meat riding the situation a little too much. Cause me personally, if I literally got in a situation like that, like I would have to speak on it. I would have to clear my name. I'd have to address shit, but I would also have to move on. And I would need everybody else too as well, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, like in order to do that, you kind of got to lead the way, address it and then move on. And so it's I think that was her way of doing that, you know.
Yeah.
The anime tidbits were really cute throughout the whole thing. And yeah. Yeah.
Man, so I mean, like, where do I start? I love Meg. I've loved Meg from the second I heard the Tina Snow project.
Mhm.
To me, Tina Snow is her best project. She still hasn't,
Mhm.
like, as much as I love Meg, she could rap her ass off. Love her
Mhm.
personality. I'm an anime dude. She's
Mhm.
in the like, you know, like it's like I love everything she's got going on. I don't
Mhm.
think any of her projects that she's put out after Tina Snow, except for something for the hotties. Those
Mhm.
those are her two best projects because they just kind of lock in on her just rapping. It's just like
Right.
you know, like the thing I love about those two projects is that they're the only ones where she's not playing defense for something. You know,
For
like
sure.
you
Okay.
know, like
Okay, for sure.
she's either on the ropes because her mother passed away, or she's on the
Mhm.
ropes because of everything that happened with that fuckhead who's in jail for 10 years, Tory Lanez,
Mhm.
or like
Mhm.
just like she like there's always something that needs to be addressed, some sort of elephant in the room. Like she's never
Mhm.
able to just make music by
Create.
herself
Yes.
without like without all these different swords hanging over her head. So
Yeah.
it made me happy, like you said, to see her officially kind of like use this to make a statement. But I
Yeah.
love the point you made about it also being propaganda because it
Mhm.
made me think about the Renaissance documentary as well. And
Mhm.
like that's like as much as I might have liked that movie, that's also 100% propaganda. Beyonce is basically fucking Amazon. So like
Yeah.
there's
Right.
I'm always looking at B and J kind of as these like they're like institutions and machines in a
Exactly.
way that like Meg kind of sort of is, but not obviously like she's not Beyonce. But
Yeah,
like
it's not the same volume.
right, but you know like like she is famous enough that like I'm picking up what you're putting down just in the sense of
Mhm.
like being actively aware that this is a thing meant to like because like that's what all film is, especially
Right.
documentaries like like
Absolutely.
like most documentaries are trying to do one of two things: inform you of something and sway your opinion on something. That's just like the
Exactly.
nature of the game, like
Yeah.
regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
So like I appreciate you, like as somebody who hasn't seen it yet, and as somebody who's I'm probably gonna watch it before I go to sleep, honestly.
Mhm.
But like she's somebody that I've had a personal investment in. Like I was, like not to be like I was like I heard Tina. I can't believe I'm about to say this. Everybody forgive me. I heard it before everybody else did. I heard the shit before it was cool. I'm like mad at myself for even saying it,
You
but
know, bruh, I
you
saw that
know,
freestyle. No, you and I are one in the same right now. But
yeah,
I might have you beat. I watched that freestyle. I remember watching her ciphers, and I was like, she's a badass bitch, and she can literally
yeah,
rap her ass off. And
you
remember
got me
seeing
beat.
her freestyle on the radio and shit.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite radio freestyles is she said, "Nigga, your money don't excite me. My wrist is just as icy." It was crazy. It was super
That
crazy.
was the Chicago one. I know exactly the
Yeah,
one you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That shit was
Super,
crazy.
super hard.
Yeah,
She's tough. She's tough. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, but like it's just like it's really interesting to think about that with like when it comes to any celebrity who's at a certain level, there's always going to be that like how much of it like how much am I trying to be swayed right now?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'll be interested to see how that pops up. That's why I didn't give a shit about spoiling it because it's like a documentary. Like this is like a
You already
this is
know.
like a it's like a well documented story anyway. Like everybody has an
Yeah.
opinion about it, regardless of it's I don't know. It's like at this point in my life, I just want Meg. I just want like I like me and my homie Shamira. Shout out to Shamira who wrote the piece that I edited. Like our basic point, and like I feel like we kind of aligned on this, and that's why the piece worked out as well as it did. Like yeah, like we just want Meg to be able to create, and
Mhm.
like
Right. Literally.
not have all this bullshit over her head. And I'll be really interested to see how how that turns out for her on the next album cycle, because even these last two shits she put out is just like, it's still more like kind of playing defense and playing catch up and having to
For
address
sure.
things. And like, I'm just like, I don't necessarily want a whole album of nothing but like Star, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
but like, even if she did that, I'd be cool, just because it's like, okay, she's just kind of doing what she wants. She can relax
Right.
and just like put out
It'll
some,
get you there.
right,
It's
you
the
know,
bridge to the point that is like, oh, she's having creatively the most fun. She's letting loose completely. And
right,
that's what I see her music as, is like, you're right. She is addressing a lot for the past few, projects and releases. And has just so much to address and so much to heal from. And I will say, in the documentary, she says, like, I feel like I haven't really, I always create music from a point of how I want to feel, instead
yeah,
of addressing, exactly, just expressing myself directly and addressing what I'm feeling and going through. So it's been more recent, this hump. And I feel like, out of all the time you get as an artist to make music, release it, and especially with all the resources she has, again, as an entity, um this hump itself, not only as it's, been, unfortunately, in ways, I think that's out of her hands, for the most part, but even marketed, or a point for her music, even beyond what is just like for capital, like literally this is happening in her life. I think it's literally, it that's how I make the sound of trees make shit. Like, I went through some
yeah.
shit, and a nigga had to, talk about it. But yeah, like, all listening to all of her music, it's so much fun that I really think, I was trying to talk to a homie about it. I was like, here's why I like her music. They're just like, no, I'm not feeling it. But I was like, okay, that's because, like, you gotta really, like, wake up the bad bitch in you, like, to literally just have fun, and a lot of her music is just so much fun that, yeah, I agree though, and I noticed that. I do like her recent project though. I've been running that back. I've been running that back.
See, I still gotta listen. See, like, I've been so behind it in my hole, I haven't listened to it. But I gotta, like, you probably already know this. A lot of niggas don't know how to awaken the bad bitch in them, and they want, and like,
Yeah.
they won't allow themselves to. It's in there.
Mm-mm.
They want to let
Mhm.
them out, but they,
Mhm.
I mean, like, I don't gotta, I don't, niggas just don't want to be themselves, you know, and
Right.
like, they're
Yeah.
afraid,
Right.
like, they're afraid of being perceived however they're gonna be perceived. Like,
Yeah.
like, like, as somebody who, has come to terms with just like being non-binary, genderqueer, on the spectrum, whatever, like, I'm
Mhm.
just like, I don't know, like, catch up, y'all, like, be
Yeah.
you, like, take your
You
mask
gotta
off, like
say it.
Tyler said, bro, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Literally, you literally gotta, like,
yeah,
some shit is just flat out there. You can't ignore it, because then it's gonna become an elephant in the room. You feel me?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
no one else will be aware of it but just you. Like, if you just want to be a bad bitch and have a little bit of fun, just kind of turn up, be a little thotty for a little bit, or however long that term lasts for you. Like, just turn up. And I feel like connecting to her music on a point of letting loose, and honestly, internally, just kind of addressing your creative needs, your feminine needs, you know your need for leisure, but also like curiosity. Everybody has that, internally,
yeah,
and how you expound on that is, everyone has their own version of that. But
yeah,
for Meg Thee Stallion and other bad bitches, it's just like kind of taking your power back and making characters out of
yeah.
it. Yeah, really stepping into that role.
Right, and there's always, always, always place for that, like,
Yeah.
it's like, always got to be space for that. And like, I want to talk about how that applies to trees, but before we
Mhm.
do, I want to take it all the way back with you. what's
Mhm.
the what's the first movie experience you can remember having? It could be at the theater, it could be at your
Yeah.
cousin's house, like,
Yeah.
just the first thing that comes to mind for you.
Yeah, absolutely. First movie experience I remember having is I'm not the biggest cinephile. And even if I
That's
got super,
cool.
super into movies today, I know I'd never be as big as my brother. He's like super into movies. Like, when he was like, God, when I was born and remembering him, he was like 12, waking up at 4 in the morning just to watch movies before school. You know, like he was super, super into collecting DVDs. We go to Hollywood DVD or Hollywood Video was what it was called
Hollywood
out here.
Video.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
We go to
we
Hollywood
had that in
Video.
Jersey too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that was just right before Blockbuster. We used to go to Blockbuster hella too, because when they shut
Uh-huh.
down Hollywood Video, we were on Blockbuster. After Blockbuster, we were on Redbox, and so me and my family, we low key like. I think specifically when we were around our dad and our dad's side of the family, we would just watch a lot of movies. And yeah, we would go to Hollywood Video. My brother would pick out movies. I remember watching Pootie Tang on the Fatback TV, and
Ah,
like
let's
my
go.
dad was cooking, and like just those type of like hood movies, or I feel like even just the huge blockbuster movies, you know, that are super like it's not super a deep cut whatsoever, but just the super super like they're super fantastical, you know, like kitschy and campy, you know, like movies and stuff like that. Like me and my siblings used to get such a fucking kick out of, and we used to even like we never had cameras out, you know, when we were just playing around, but we used to just like act like we were in a movie all the time and just say the stupid shit, the corny shit, and yeah, just watching my brother pick movies and put on movies.
Yo, my fault. Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to shout out the all new Real Notes Patreon page real quick. If you're looking for ways to connect and directly support the podcast, the Real Notes Patreon is the best way to do so. For as little as $5 a month, you can gain early day before access to every forthcoming episode of Real Notes, as well as an invite to the Real Notes Discord server, where you can talk to others about the latest and greatest in movies and music, come through for some listening sessions, and talk about whatever else is on your mind. I know I'm gonna be talking a bunch. If you feel like coming up off a little bit more, you could get cool exclusive content like audio from Real Notes Live and Real Talk interviews. Those will be exclusive to patrons and ticket holders moving forward. Access to retro versions of my 60-second Minute Maid movie reviews, and even a monthly writing and podcasting workshop hosted by me. Regular episodes will still be available on a weekly basis anywhere you get your podcasts, but if you want the extras, you gotta come out them pockets a bit. Check us out at patreon.com/realnotes. That's REELNOTES. I appreciate your consideration and support more than you know. Now let's get back to talking.
This is probably the earliest. Pootie Tang specifically, or Undercover Brother.
I was
Yeah.
literally gonna bring that up. Okay,
Yeah.
story time real quick. I was at a
Mhm.
FYE like 3 weeks ago. Like
Mhm.
they opened like they got a handful out here, which like I don't know. I used to
Mhm.
live there when I went to the mall as a kid. So I
Yeah.
found Undercover Brother on DVD for like $4. It was
Rare. Yeah.
it was a used one. I got it. It's somewhere in my crib right now. I don't remember where I put
Mhm.
it, but like, yo, my sister and I, like, that shit came on like every day, like the summer after it came out in the theater. It was just like
Mhm.
on TV. It would just be like
Yeah.
one of those summers where it was just like the same 5 or 6 movies on
Movie
TV. It might have been on
marathon.
like Stars or some shit.
Yeah.
And like we would just watch Undercover Brother over and over and over and over again. Like we know that movie front to back, every
Yeah.
cue, every joke, every line. I see white people, the hot sauce
Mhm.
and the fucking watch, the
Yeah.
the goddamn guava mango broccoli slate, like that's
Yeah.
Undercover Brother is my goddamn heart, man. I love that movie so
Yeah.
much.
That's the one. That one just you know what I think of all the time is when the license plate just flipped over because he pushed that button. He was trying to get away and shit. And then like they made the mayonnaise sandwiches and shit like that. Like it created damn near of like this huge running joke between me and my sister about like a fear of mayonnaise whenever you used to go anywhere. It's like, bro, if they put on that undercover ass portion of mayonnaise anywhere we go, I'm finna be mad. Like I'm scared. Like yeah, that's really the one. And I feel like it's just so creative. I think that's kind of like I don't know who directed that movie. It escapes me at the moment. But when me and the producer of the Sound the Trees make actually Esteban, we love movies too. And
Shout
we
out.
would watch shouts out Esteban for real. We would watch Austin Powers a lot. Like he has like the TV where you put the tape in the TV and it just connects to the the big box TV, and
Yeah,
we would watch Austin Powers, and I feel like Undercover Brothers like the black people Austin Powers, but
100%.
like
Yeah.
yeah, I think the director intentionally did that, and yeah, like movies like that even we ran back the Nutty Professor which is another one. It's like that one. I kept telling all my friends, I'm like, y'all, we're gonna get together, we're gonna watch the Nutty Professor, and we're gonna have a good time. And it was just me and Esteban. But literally,
Yo,
that shit is like so. It's so crazy when you look back and watch it. It's hella it's so fat phobic, and it made
yeah.
me sad. And but it was like so fucking, like, I feel like when you get into the pocket of how like everything, is like at its best lighthearted, everybody gets a good dig, like boundary pushing and funny, but like also just like so like, damn, this is really the early, no, it wasn't even early 2000s, it was the
It was in
90s.
the late '90s. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, bruh, this is so like so 90s, like the perfect time capsule of what was acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you see, it's crazy because I watch a lot of Princehood Cinema, and he did a recap of that. I hadn't seen it
Yeah.
in years because like of course I've seen both the Nutty Professors, but like just like
Yeah.
going back and like rewatching it through his thing and just being like, damn, like the thing I always do when I watch old stuff is like that was a long time ago, but also
Yeah.
not a long time ago. Like 20, 30 years is not that long, but it's
Right.
also long as shit. It's like weird. Like it's I don't know.
Right.
Time is a flat circle, but like
Yeah.
but like the specific, I had more of a relationship with the second movie because I remember when it came out. I remember the poster. Eddie Murphy plays the whole goddamn Clump family.
Yeah.
But more than the
Crazy.
Yo, for real. But more than the movie, the sound, like I love the
See,
soundtrack.
there we go.
My
Yes.
dad, my father bought the soundtrack. Like that was my first time hearing Music Soul Child ever. That was my
Yeah. Oh
first
my
time here.
God.
Whoever sang, I think it was Case who sang I'm Missing You. Like
Yeah.
just like I took that CD and would just like it was just like a Bible for me.
Yeah.
Like I was already
Oh.
listening to music at that point, but like that soundtrack was just like, you know, man, like the soundtrack's great. I
You
just
took the
like
words out of my mouth. Yeah.
that shit is like that shit just really once again like that's my whole heart. It really just like
Yeah.
there's like a LL Cool J song on there that makes me laugh every time I hear
Yeah.
it. It's like so stupid. It's like at the very
Bro.
end of the soundtrack. That shit kills
Yes. Me
me.
and my friends, we love that soundtrack. And more than I am a cinephile, I connect to movies through the soundtrack. So
There
the
we
Nutty
go. Yeah,
Professor, because I have that CD too. My
yeah.
mom gave me that CD, or I just like inherited her collection. And literally that soundtrack I listen to every day. When I was walking, the last song, like you saw me walking in before we like really started this, I was listening to Doesn't Really Matter by Janet Jackson, which
No
is like
shit.
on there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
every
first
day.
song on the soundtrack. Yeah.
Yeah, I run that one every day, and I run that soundtrack every day. And another, me and my siblings we broke our CD because we had to buy another one because we fucked it up so much. Another soundtrack that's so crazy. There are many. But another one that's so crazy is the Shark Tale soundtrack is so
Oh,
fucking crazy.
come on
They had
now.
no business putting
Come
so many
on
like,
now.
it was just crazy. What's another one? The Ali, where Will Smith played yeah, just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so many crazy cuts. But yeah, the Shark Tale soundtrack, the Nutty Professor soundtrack, I'm all about those.
Yo, let me add. Did you ever hear the Osmosis Jones soundtrack?
Yes.
Did you have the CD?
Yes, we have the CD. We have the
Wow.
CD.
All right. We're kin. That's crazy. So
Yeah.
like, I'm like, I don't know. Like that's like I've always like you. I've always been fascinated by that stuff, and just like, and
Yeah.
again, it just puts me on to good shit. Like I
Right.
heard damn, there was a who did that song Supergirl off the Princess Diaries soundtrack, because that was the first time
Oh,
I'd ever heard.
bruh. That's
I'm
another
mad.
good one. That's another good one. That's another good question. I don't know who. I see you doing your Googles.
Yeah, no, I'm checking right now. So whoever Crystal Harris is, like
Okay.
that, like me and my sister were like crazy
Yeah.
into that. I could sit here and talk about soundtracks all day, but like
Yeah, soundtracks are really it.
yo, but yeah,
One thing
like
that has
like
to
I
be
agree,
mentioned is
please.
the Lauryn Hill single that's on the Surf's Up soundtrack,
Oh
Supercut.
God,
Cause you run and try and find all her music, right?
yeah,
And that one isn't even discussed. That's not
wow.
a part of the discussion when you're on the scavenge for extra Lauryn Hill singles and music. Like
Mhm.
that's just kind of like it's a cut in itself. But that movie is also really silly. because I remember me and Esteban watched it, and I was trying to tell him about the soundtrack, but like we didn't have the CD, so I was just trying to show him on YouTube. But it doesn't hit the same when you're literally scavenging to find more of Lauryn Hill. There she is, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like she's one of those that like, even though I'm gonna say this publicly, I might get attacked for it. I went back and listened to, like, there's songs I love on Miseducation, but
Mhm.
I went back and listened to a few and I'm like, maybe some of these aren't good. But like,
Mhm.
but she's Lauryn Hill, you know.
Mhm.
Like I'm I'm never gonna take anything away from Lauryn Hill. I love
Mhm.
the song you're talking about. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite Lauryn Hill songs. That shit goes
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
she's a also Jersey representative.
Right.
When I
Right.
moved, like she used to live in a town called South Orange. My family lived like 2 blocks away from her. We like drove by
Right.
and saw her like tending her garden and shit. It was very
Beautiful.
wholesome, super cute.
Very beautiful.
It also might have been right before she went to jail for the tax shit. I
Okay,
could
got you.
I could be wrong, but either way,
Mhm.
like shout
Yeah.
out to Lauryn Hill. We love you.
Super
Um,
good.
but yeah, movie soundtracks, yeah, they
Mhm.
like that was, I don't know if I've talked about it specifically in this way on here before, but that really was like that was so much of a portal to me into so many, like just like so many, like I grew up in a musical household, so like
Mhm.
music was already everywhere, but like that, you know, like movie soundtracks and game soundtracks really helped expand my
Yeah.
taste and introduce me to hella shit that I still
Mhm.
like. Yeah, it's like that obviously still exists today. Like I love
Mhm.
seeing that and stuff like this Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's like you know, like that's a really cool one.
Yeah.
You know, like I just they're not as prevalent as they were, and I wish that like more stuff like the Into the Spider-Verse shit would happen for other movies, because like
Right.
because like I don't know, like once again, like that's why this exists. That's why Real Notes exists, because of
Yeah.
this connection between music and movies, and like
Yeah.
yeah, it
I
just
think
makes
the
me happy.
bigger the movie, the bigger the budget.
Yeah.
Like the last one, I think even more, this might be debatable. We might be able to debate about this, but before Into the Spider-Verse with the Black Panther soundtrack entirely
Oh
produced by
man.
Kendrick. Crazy.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just like that is such a that was monumental, and that was another one. And me and my siblings, like we experienced a lot of music together, specifically me and my older brother. But like I feel like I ended up, going off the beaten path. Like when I was 12, it was less about the soundtracks, and it was, we consumed a lot of media together. But like I ended up kind of, when I would go in my shell, kind of experiencing music and media in different ways. But
Right.
that specifically, we'd always come together, and we'd always, like, when we hang out or whatever, we were always listening to that. So yeah, the production value of it entirely, the pics of talent that they had on there was stupid, ridiculous, crazy. Still has some
Yeah.
ones.
I still mourn the SOB RBE breakup, and
Yeah,
because that their song on there is just like,
nuts.
that might be a perfect song, son. Like
Yeah, it's
like
playing in my head while we're talking about this. Like real
God,
talk.
yeah, no. I'm because like that, the song with Vince and the South African, I think her name is Eugen Blackrock. I don't know how to pronounce her name, but
Okay.
she's dope, whoever she is. Shout out to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like so many, yeah, that album's great. Like even like, I don't like All the Stars, but I appreciate it. You know, like
Hmm.
it's like one of those albums where like I can listen to every song, and even if I don't like it, I at least like appreciate it for what it is. It's so weird.
Hmm.
Like I don't feel that way about a lot of shit. So
That
it's
sent
cool to see
SZA
that.
up. That
Yeah.
sent her all the way up. I remember SZA just felt like a secret in my phone. Like when I was like 12 listening to her, I was probably a little bit younger, like 11, and I'm listening to her music and I'm like, bro, if her music felt so personal, and I was having so many like on the cusp of teenage, like intimate music listening experiences where I'm just kind of like understanding my identity. So then listening to All the Stars, I remember when I saw my parents listening to it on their TV, and I was like, oh my God, like, how did they get a hold of this? And it's because it's on that
Right.
soundtrack. It's because it sent her up. It's because she blew up. And I was like, damn, she's not a secret no more. But like, that's just the beauty of, the structure that is a soundtrack. like when it's super intentional, because media these days, like having access to media is not taken or regarded as seriously.
Mm,
People aren't
yeah.
having the same hunger for holding a physical copy of music anymore. Very, as much as even getting a hold of a soundtrack and listening to it online. People are like, I've already heard these songs in relation to the movie when I'm watching it. Why go out and listen to the soundtrack itself? It's because it extends what is the media form of the movie. You
Yeah.
experience it and connect to it. Hits in different ways. So crazy.
Yeah, man. I just like I thought about that in relation to the second Black Panther movie and the second Spider-Verse movie because
Hmm.
I thought both the soundtracks and both the movies were less not bad, but definitely less good than the original joints. And
Yeah.
and you're like it really made me sit there and consider just like how like there's so many songs in the second Black Panther in
Hmm.
particular that are just like amplified by songs on the soundtrack, but
Yeah.
don't sound great outside of the context of
Exactly.
which is like you know if it it's like it's so weird because I want to be able to live with some songs outside of the context of the movie sometimes
Right.
like maybe that's just my personal preference but it's
Hmm.
I don't know like like I think about modern soundtracks differently than I
Hmm.
do stuff that we might have grown up on. Like
Hmm.
I, like I try to take it in. It's like like obviously there's songs that I could listen to that are divorced completely from the context of the movie, but
Hmm.
if it works one way but doesn't in another, it just kind of makes the experience feel strange.
Right. Yeah. It
You
does, because music, e- especially how we are talking about these iconic, like
Yeah,
fucking knockout, isolated projects or songs on this thread of songs together. It's like before there was the playlist, there was the soundtrack, where it's like we take all this compilation of music, or a compilation or a mixtape, I should really say is the first.
mm,
But like these different forms of, compiling all the music together and creating this body of music together. Like when you don't want to even take that outside of its experience, I think it has its own strength. I think it's like this music is entirely made for the consumption of this media form. Like this is where it's its strongest, is when it goes with this other set of media. So I think that's cool, but yeah, it is a little bit weird and almost underwhelming.
yeah. It's like because like you don't want to. I mean, like I don't want to take stuff out of context and like dock points from shit for not being what I want it to be when it's already something else.
Yeah.
But it's like that's I guess that's just the more difficult side of just
Yeah.
like having to like reconcile that shit. But
Hmm.
I'm so curious because you brought up the fact that like like at the point when all the stars happened, like SZA was just kind of like a secret in your phone, and like
Hmm.
that's somebody who you were like really on. So like for
Yeah.
you, like because like usually actually no I just realized I forgot to ask a question. So as you get older and you start to develop your own tastes and kind of
Hmm.
refine your palette or whatever, I think of this as like a capital M movie, like the
Hmm.
type of thing where it's like you see it and you connect with it in a way like in like a deeper artistic or emotional or spiritual sense, like something that was just kind of more than just 90 minutes of entertainment for you,
Hmm.
like something that made you feel the way those soundtracks made you feel, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like what's a movie that's like it really stood out amongst the rest and I kind of carry it with me?
Yeah, basically.
Hmm. Damn. Definitely The Pursuit of Happyness. First
Tell me
time I
why.
ever watched it. It sent a chill down my back about like all the adversity that one person can experience. I'm super big on like everybody inherits problems and issues, right? Especially depending on what type of intersectionality you experience. You're black
Right.
and you're poor, or like you're born into a family and you have two addicts as parents,
Yeah,
or like even just being a black queer person, woman, femme, all these things you're gonna experience in your life. It's just like, damn, I didn't really even have a choice for real. And even when I do like, lean into having a choice, it's just like I gotta do everything in my power to, rise above my to rise above the adversity, That movie itself, like I forget how old I was when I watched that shit. I was probably like 15 when I was probably like watching it when I was younger, you know, in the background, but actually watching it on my own and seeing it was like, holy shit, you know, you can actually, with all the means that you can accumulate, and as long as you kind of have the stomach for it, step outside of your circumstances, you know. Like, I think I'm just super big about whatever problems you inherit that aren't yours, like make sure you give yourself your own problems. And he that's exactly what he was experiencing, was like, you know, he didn't really choose to be, you know, poor and experiencing, you know, racial identity, you know, hardships at work and stuff like that. The issue he started giving himself was like, how am I gonna, you know, maximize, how am I gonna sell all these little computers or whatever? How can I get
Yeah.
niggas to buy, you know, these
I
little
think they were like bone
computers?
marrow scanners or some shit, right?
Yeah, some
I
shit like that. Yeah, for doctors. You know, he gave himself another problem and met the other problems, you know, and just kept trying to. It was literally just delegating issues for a while until they lessened. Until the
Right.
issue, it wasn't as hard anymore. It was just like, you know, like the type of how calculative he was and how determined he was definitely affected me. And then finally, when he got that reward, I literally, when I have those feelings where it's like, you play Tetris in life, you know. It's like, I'm nigga, I gotta hit a parlay soon, nigga, because how
Yeah.
the fuck I'm finna get out this shit, bro? I better get, you know, when you finally hit that parlay and you finally come out on top. I hit this all the time, the where he clapping in the
Yeah.
crowd and he crying.
Yeah,
I'm
he just cried and
absolutely,
it's in his mustache, like, yo, like
I have absolutely felt that shit before, and that's what I think of. I can't even hold you. Like, when you finally hit that point of like, whew, we're good. We're good. You know,
yeah.
like I've absolutely felt that. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, like, I mean, like, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I've never been through anything that like financially intense in my life,
Mhm.
but like I've definitely felt those emotional highs and those
Mhm.
emotional lows. Like the scene, like the scene that always sticks out to me is when they got to spend the night in the bathroom,
Yeah.
and like Will is turning the whole thing into a game with him and Jaden, and he's like, oh yeah, we got to go like
Actually.
hunt for the dinosaurs, and like they go into
Mhm.
the bathroom and somebody tries to get in and he's just like holding the bathroom shut with his foot, and he's just in
Mhm.
like he's like holding back tears, but he's
Mhm.
holding this kid. I'm just like,
Mhm.
I've seen some shit in my life, like I've been like, just like you just see something like that and it's just, I don't know, like how could you not just like be a puddle watching something,
Yes.
you know, like it's just like,
It
how can you not be a puddle watching something like that,
it
you know?
hit deep. It hit deep because in the darkest points of your life, sometimes like you have to literally use so much of your imagination. That was such a vivid, this like point
Mm-hmm.
to get across, you know, how you literally have to use so much of your imagination. And then like to a child, you know, children experience things with genuinely no fear, you know, like a child doesn't know that, like, damn, I can't go in these parts of town because, you know, something could happen, you know, like they don't do anything with fear, so it doesn't hold them back from anything.
Right, because
So
they don't know any better. Yeah.
right, so he had to literally get in level with his child to make that situation even happen. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it hit deep and it sticks in my memory for real. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's definitely one of those. I remember seeing the trailer and being like ripped up over the trailer because like, yeah, no, I think we might be around the same age. How old are you?
I'm 23 as of a few months ago, 4 months ago.
Oh, never mind. I'm 32. Never
Cool.
mind.
Everybody
Sorry.
thinks I'm older, but I'm not. No.
I feel you. A lot of people think I'm younger, but I'm not. But no, sorry. I
You
like you know you were talking about like being like X age, and I was like, oh, like, you know, like because I was, because this came out in 06. I was like 15, 16 when this
hmm
movie came out. Like I was in high school.
Oh
So
yeah,
that,
no,
so like,
like I had to run it back and like I was just going through films and I caught on to it. I
got
think it
it.
was on
Okay,
Netflix. Yeah. On
got
my
it.
own time. Yeah.
So I'm aging myself, but it's cool.
No, on Vibes we met each other. If I'm a little bit more, if people think I'm older, people think you're younger, we're the same, like like age and spirit.
Yeah, for sure. I'm for sure. I love that. So no,
Yeah.
So okay, so now let's do the same thing with music. Well,
Mm-hmm.
well, like not exactly the same thing, but just like when did like capital M music, like when did that
Mm-hmm.
become, like when did music become a thing? Not even like you wanted to make it, like we're not even there yet. Like just when
Mm-hmm.
did you know, when did music first start to fascinate you and like pull you in and become more than just like a passive thing playing in the background type shit?
Man, I feel like I've always been really spiritually attached to music because my parents were so big on it. And just growing up in a household where we had, endless tapes, CDs and stuff like that. My family was just like, it was just a central part of my life. I feel like my mom was a very jovial person, and music just kind of exaggerated that, so she connected to music really easily. And um like I remember, you know she would allow me to go into her CDs, and I'd sit in front of a stereo and like go through them and play them. And because she trusted me with it ever since I was like 5 or 4, and not 4, 5, 6, 7,
Yeah,
around that time, to kind of just like intentionally use it instead of just kind of like fucking with it, because I really wanted to just hear the songs. Like I really wanted to hear the Pussycat Dolls. I really wanted to hear John Legend. I really wanted to
yeah.
hear, Lauryn Hill. So I would I had like she had a little headset and stuff like that. Literally ever since I was like I do remember being 4 personally, but 4 or 5. Like it was just and I still do this. I just do it while walking. Like I said, when I was coming inside and just got into the room and I was walking, is because I used to sit with headphones on and like rock back and forth. It's a thing of stimming for me, but like I would rock back and
Mm-hmm.
forth and just listen to music for hours with headphones on. But now, because I don't have a specific chair, I literally just walk around and listen to music. And I think it music I now that I think about it, it filled a lot of gaps for me, because I didn't really have, like, I spent a lot of time around my family. I didn't go out and like have many friends at one point. So just listening to music was full of sustenance for me. I didn't watch TV. I didn't, I literally just listened to music. My YouTube addiction,
Mm-hmm.
probably for music, not just watching videos, but just for music alone, and other forums, probably began when I was like 10, but I feel like it's just always been everything to me, like genuinely my everything. And yeah, like just spending time with a CD player, then my phone, listening to on headphones, is like I need at
Mm-hmm.
least 2 hours a day listening to music.
I mean, like you're preaching to the choir right now.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
gotta, in the spring and summer, and I guess in the fall too. I got a crib. I got a park near my crib, and like even so, like even forgetting the park. Like whenever I go anywhere, like I'm usually listening to music. Like I've got earbuds in. I'm literally wearing my headphones right now. But
Mhm.
like but like music sounds better when you're walking places.
Yeah,
Like
driving, walking.
right, like I've had such a hard time putting this into words in the past. I feel like I've only like I feel like I've talked about it with a couple people, but like I guess the way I'd put it is like music just like sounds better to me when I'm in motion. Like if I'm like walking somewhere, like it just feels different. Like it's
Mhm.
like it's like I'm a part of it almost. Like it's like
Yeah.
so like I get I get that I get that drive you have to just kind of like be with that. And like, yeah, like I start to feel weird if I haven't listened to a certain
Yeah.
amount of music. Cause like I'll just like be hearing songs in my head all day. And it's like I need to go listen to this or else it's gonna fucking like,
Yes.
yeah, no, you get it.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
yeah, that's the type, like that's why like that's why I'm here. That's why
Yeah.
I do why we're talking right now. So,
Exactly. And like
like,
even if I'd always be a music lover, I feel like I don't have to make music, but it's where my thoughts make most sense.
right,
And I I'm all about any form of expression really, but music is just such a dominant part of my life, and especially this part, that I'm not
right.
going to deny it of its existence through me as a vessel. Like I feel like that just be a shame, because I also it makes me listen to music differently. It makes me experience, expression in music differently. And when I engage in different mediums, it inspires the next medium, you know, like
Right.
I write before doing anything. I listen to music doing everything. I have to move doing everything. And all these different forms of expression come
Mhm.
together so well. So yeah, even, you know, going to me and my siblings used to go to record stores a lot. And I have a record player that I still have, you know, my mom gave me when I was like 12 for Christmas, and that it was a ritual. And I think that's exactly what playing a record is you sit down and you turn that shit on, and whatever you're doing is now a form of meditation, you know. And like I'm scanning the fuck out of every sleeve, every case, you know, getting to know
Yeah.
the lyrics. There's a songbook, and now I'm addicted. I want to go back and do it all over again, find a new one to do the same thing with.
Mhm.
And yeah.
Yeah, I just bought 2 milk crates to put more of my record. Like you can't see them, but I just got like 3 bins full of records in front of me. I need to get a new player, but
Mhm.
like before we move on to like you wanting to make music and just like your relationship with art, because I know you do a lot of different kinds of art
Mhm.
outside of just music. But
Mhm.
like I'm so curious about like the stuff you were listening to that really kind of connected with you when you were younger, and like just like what was, like who were not even who were your influences, but just like what was the stuff you were listening to that made you feel that way.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because like my family's from Oakland, and
Mm-hmm.
like the taste that is from my mom and my dad is it's very funny because it's like it represents two parts very well. You know,
Yeah.
my mom, she was super diverse in her tastes, you know, like she's listening to like metal, she's listening to R&B, gospel. uh Gospel was very, you know, as light as it was, which is interesting. I don't know exactly what the turning point was for my family, but like in Oakland, my grandfather was a minister of a church, you know. And like I remember attending it kind of frequently when I was younger. You know, weddings, funerals, get-togethers, you know. Like I feel like my family wasn't primarily religious, but the relationship that I now have to it in awe, and then also connecting to like a cosm of my life is really interesting. But
Right.
anyways, you know, like R&B, of course, you know. And my dad like very big on rap and R&B and soul, gospel a little bit furthermore, that's it. But
Yeah.
specifically, like, you know, my mom is like playing, you know, Faith Evans, ran the fuck out of some Faith Evans, ran Monica to the ground, you know. I remember my mom playing front to back that India RE joint, you know.
Which one?
um
The other one with radio on it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That all the way through. Anything that Timbaland or Jay-Z touched or was on. My family was a Jay-Z household for sure.
Mm,
Um, and it really wasn't until I was like 15, 16 that like when I was like really independently deepening my relationship with hip hop. I really want to say that was probably like when I was like 13, 14, but like independently deepening my relationship with hip hop. Um, you know, was I like really listening to early Jay-Z, but like that, you know, being that's so in the background of my childhood. And yeah, both my parents, they used to worship Jay-Z, you know, like
yeah.
um yeah. So yeah, stuff like that, you know.
Right. So, like as like once again, like as you get older and you start, just living life, developing your own tastes, finding all your own stuff, like when did you know that music was going to become more than just a hobby for you? Like when
Mm-hmm.
did you know that you were going to go from just like being around it, being in this meditative state with records, and
Mm-hmm.
kind of having this like just like it's there always relationship to like I want to make this and contribute, and like
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lifer in this shit. Like when did that happen for you?
Well, I think a lot of what I would do when I was like 12 connected somehow to what I did when I was 19. I've always been a writer, you know, like when I was
Yeah.
like, I used to not talk at all. I used to write. I had a piece of paper on me. I used to write and hand it to people, you know, like I used to not even speak. but like that was a very comfortable thing for me, to where I'm obviously writing letters, stories, songs, journaling, and my creative expression was so versatile as it was, independently, that like I think that kind of just came into be. Like I remember writing songs and raps when I was like 9, 10, and I still have those journals, and I
Wow.
do a thing where I like revisit them. Like I it's probably been a few weeks since I've done this, with like those like age ranges. I mostly go to the one I really respect the way that I was thinking when I was like 14. But I remember like I wrote a rap and I really fucked with it when I was like, I want to say 11. And I used to write my age and like my initials and then my age in parentheses. So my age is on everything. Like I know exactly what year I was writing these things. And I was like, what's my name gonna be? Like, okay, like I'm a rapper. What's my name gonna be? And my name is kJADE. That's where the K
Yeah.
comes from.
I was,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so like,
Yeah.
but nobody calls me Kendall Jade or even Kendall, except for people, who are like solidified family or from a certain point of my life. So like I was like, I can be like JD, and I'm looking up, JD online. Like, does anybody have this name? And all that came up was Jay Dilla. And
Mm.
I got into Dilla at that point, just
Right.
kind of figuring out who he was and everything. Like really, really identifying him. But yeah, when I was 19, I'm going through my journals, and I was drawing and painting a lot, like between those years, and of course still writing. But it really started to make sense, like bringing, what I'm experiencing into poetry and start rapping, again with like a very, like a loyalty to music and hip hop especially. um all my poetry just kind of came to life when I was like 19. I started, having homies that were like, they were like, you're fire and you need to be in the studio, so come on, let's go. And I was like, okay, thank you. And we were like,
Mm.
we're recording, niggas give me free studio time. I'm like, we in this bitch. But
Hey.
yeah, I think that was like, it was around then.
Damn. So like, I mean, like, I know that Trees is your first project, which is like
Mhm.
crazy, which is like crazy to think about because there's such like it's so detailed and there's so much intention, but it's also like the thing I love about it is that it's so hazy. It just feels like a bunch of vignettes kind of
Yeah,
just like all tied together. But
yeah.
like I need to know just based off of that, like when did you first start recording? And when did it like not even just when did you first start recording, but like when did you start recording and you listen back to it and you were like, "Oh, like I'm that. Like I'm nice.
Mhm.
Like I could do this." Cuz like that's like yeah.
Yeah, I love this question because I need niggas to know that, like, not
Let's
just that
go.
I'm nice, but like that this was such an intentional project that when I was 19, my life started changing like very seriously. And I had always been documenting. Like I said, I'd always been writing. And I'm the type of person, like, I got something to say, I'll write. I always carry a little, not my phone because it's too distracting, but like a pad of paper, like a little miniature moleskin and pen, and I'll
Yeah.
just write and keep it pushing and write, keep pushing. So I'm stacking all these things throughout all my experiences and sayings and you know feelings, and that all that was compiled ever since I was like 19. And when I was 22, is when I like really recorded. Well, I was 19 when I recorded the first song, which was More Fruit with Esteban. And I met him through mutual friends at the time. And we like, he hit me up. He's like, bro, he was like, we have to like get in the studio. We have to keep doing this too. And then, I always have lyrics to go. I think that's kind of common, but like when I was, I went through a hardship where I was like homeless, and I was kind of just like couch surfing. And Esteban was like, bro, stay with me. And Esteban was like, he's living in a home. His studio is literally like a studio, like he turned
Right.
that to the crib. And yeah, like I'm there, and he's like, while we're here, of course gonna be making music. Like it was very comfortable, very lax. And he's like, we should like, we're kind of already on a track to just kind of get your first project out. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, we can absolutely do that. and it felt very natural, just kind of like what we had going from there, the momentum. I kind of pieced some more lyrics together to make intentional songs that represented experiences, but like the vibe itself, it's just funny because niggas know me in real life, and like I think they'd have an expectation of me making more fun music and have more
Yeah.
flavor, and then I come out with this shit and they're like, oh damn, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's because I had something to say, and that's kind of just, I was reporting on what my life was really, how that was going at that point. And just being with Esteban, he brought that shit to life so well, because everything that sounded like, I feel like he knew how to capture the somber, the intense, the tension and release of it all, and the sadness, the devastation, literally.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a very vivid project in sound, and even when you listen to what I'm saying, I think it gives it more detail, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah. So when I was recording it though, I was like, I'd been sitting on those lyrics for so long, so I didn't really realize that it was gonna be what it is. Like I really didn't.
Yeah.
I was just happy that it was out. Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but you're telling me like the first recording you really did ever was with Esteban.
Yes.
Is
Well,
wow.
like record my first song ever?
Yeah. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no. No,
Yeah.
my first song ever, I was recording I was recording myself.
Or like or like I'm sorry to cut you off. Not even just your first song ever, but just like when you first realized like I got it. Like I can like
Mhm.
actually do this type shit.
So when I was, like I said, when I was getting in the studio with niggas and stuff like that, like
Yeah,
friends
yeah,
at
yeah.
the time, I was featuring on songs and stuff like that, and they were like, people would ask me to get on their song, not like random, just all my homies, and it's just kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
how,
yeah.
where it's like you kind of just getting a little cipher, and then niggas start writing, and we start recording, and yeah, like there were those moments. And then I was already performing a lot, like niggas knew me through features and then
Yeah.
performances, at like house parties, house shows. I
Mhm.
did a couple of like joints at like, local places and stuff, like venues, but like all of that was just so contained that I used to have a lot of people anticipating me releasing music like locally, and there are fewer people like I've been very online ever since I was like 10, 11. So
Mhm.
like I have a set of friends that are distinctively online, have experienced me before a lot of like changes, or just have witnessed my evolution, because they're still, with me. But like people who've experienced me then, and then I started actually having local friends when I was like 19. Like I really was not outside. Like I was low key antisocial, but wasn't, like not introverted all the way, but just really was not, like no incentive to socialize with niggas.
Yeah.
And I think that I only, right when I came outside, it was like I'm making music, and niggas had me on features. Like I remember I had this two homies, and then I did a verse with I just kind of linked up with them and started recording. But like the first song I ever released ever, it was called Reason. And what I say, I'm like, I look myself in the mirror like, damn, you the reason. It's over this trap beat that a nigga gave me. And he sent me another beat. He sent me like low key a pack, and then I just like did like 15-minute writing exercises to them and released them. And niggas thought it was hot, so it kept cycling. But I put a whole pause on all that because like life was just life, and
Yeah.
started writing basically all the material for the sound the trees make. And then, like give it like a year and a half later, recording it. Another half of a year later, it's out. You know.
Got you. Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we even get back to trees, talk to me about Money Mantra, because I was listening
Mhm.
to Money Mantra earlier and it feels
Mhm.
like a, like I mean like it's sonically pretty different from how trees sounds, but
Mhm.
it still feels kind of like a warm up to what you're talking about on
Mhm.
there. So talk to me about that song and kind of like the transition to the mood of trees.
Yeah.
That
So
song's
that's
funny
one
stuff.
of that. Yeah, that's that's the warm up. One of the warm ups I'm talking about. I dropped two songs.
Yeah.
One of them was Reason. One of them was Money Mantra. And money, like niggas were like, you know, gassing it like this is a slaughter, you know, hold on, this thing. They're like, this is a slaughter. You know, I was sending it to niggas like, what do we feel? What do we think? And I was so, like, when I recorded Reason, I was so happy. And then when I recorded Money Mantra, I didn't think it was so like turned. But yeah, like that was another one of those 15-minute writing exercises where I'm in the middle of me, like on the cusp of all these like happenings. I'm like, nigga, I need some money. It's time to
Yeah.
manifest that shit, like literally. And it high key worked. It high key worked. And I mean, like, that's just the intention of I think just I was very set on just trying to make music and put it out. So, you know, like that song, I kind of just wanted to put it into the ether, like do absolutely nothing else beyond it, and just kind of just like write raps, release it, write raps and release it. That's what I thought I was gonna be on, but I just kept that at 2 singles, and then low key for a while, like it was just those 2 singles on my page, you know.
Right. Yeah. Nah. Because like them songs are from like 2022, and
Yeah.
you know, like it's you know, so like I mean, like you've like alluded to it and talked about it a bunch, but like eventually you and Esteban connect. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
you're staying at his crib and studio for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking all these old. I'm still blown that you're taking all these old writings
Mm-hmm.
and just like turning that into these into this tapestry that is trees. So like,
Mm-hmm.
where did you know? You're like, where did the? I mean, I guess I know where the initial idea came from because this is stuff you've been sitting on for years. But
Mm-hmm.
like, once y'all start recording them and putting them together, where does the album materialize? Like, where does the point come where you're like, oh, this is like not just I'm not just recording and releasing songs. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is like a project that I want to make a full experience front to back type shit. Like, when did
Yeah.
that happen?
Yeah. I mean, so like when me writing itself was like, it's just that kind of, you know, is like, of course, like a backbone, if you will. But the way that Esteban would make beats, he had already given me some that I think when we sequenced it, you know, he was big on like making sure all the sequencing was there. Um and you know, I conducted some of like the order, and you know, like we send each other like memes all day and songs all
Mm-hmm.
day, and you know, like videos. I was sending him lectures at this point, just stuff that I like. I'm just like, you should hear this, or we should hear this, and then you know, we have conversations and shit where it's like, this needs to be sampled. Like we need to put this on there, and it's a lot of intentional ones. It's also some where I think he just was like, I think he was thinking of all the things that represented me. And he'd be like, hey, I was watching this Lucky interview and I put this Lucky sample in there. You know, like he put this Josephine Baker sample in there, you
Mm-hmm.
know, just a few things. The Bjork sample, you know,
Yep.
where because I put him on to the Bjork podcast. I listened to a lot of Utopia at that point. But like her podcast specifically, because I was listening to it when I would like fall asleep, and still do. And yeah, I think just like certain things that he could connect to me out of, he would run it by me, or I already sent it to him, and it kind of brought together like how we pieced that together. And then the sequencing was absolutely the fastest part. Low key the longest part for at one point. Now, mind you, Trees was recorded in 2 months, really. Like it
Mm,
was actually recorded and beats were made within like 2 months, because that's how long I was staying with them. So
right.
like beats were actually just a little bit before 2 months, but still just around that time frame. But yeah, like I just remember him telling me, he's like, yeah, we can like lock in on your projects, you know, like we should really put one out for you. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And that, as the writing was there, I want to say though, Spiritual Warfare Veteran and Close Friends List were almost completely written like within that 2 months, but everything else was like built up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like this is a 10-track project, and only
Hmm.
two of these songs,
Hmm.
only two of these songs were written in that 2-month period. You know,
Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
like I don't know, man. That's not nothing. That's really cool to and just like like I'm listening to this project when I first well, I mean like after Cast had put me on, I'm listening to this and I was like, oh, like she's got to have like 5 or 6 other joints and has to have been making music for the last like 5
Yeah.
years and like and like I swear to God I dug today. Like I was like looking for shit. like like I was looking for like a hidden SoundCloud page, a hidden
Mm-hmm.
Bandcamp.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for YouTube shit. Like I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this is it. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is it. And it
Mm-hmm.
really just dawned on me, like, Jesus, like it's, I don't know, this sounds so complete, like it's like obviously it's a very emotionally heavy project, but like it's also like, but parts of it are also kind of silly and goofy. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
part of the like that's what's cool about your style of writing, is that like when to keep it serious, but you also know when to be like a little silly.
Yeah.
Like I'll never forget speaking to I had Sage Navy Blue on here like really
Mm-hmm.
early on. He just gave me a chance. I love you, Sage. But like one thing he would always talk about was like, people hear my music and think I'm like the most solemn, depressed nigga on planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, I'm
Right.
a goofball, like
Right.
he's like, I play games, I crack jokes all the time. Like I just like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want people to think that I'm this like in like the things you were talking about, just like this like introverted, like depressed individual at
Right.
all times. And it's just like, I don't know, like it's very easy to get caught up in like how epic and theatrical a lot of these beats are, and
Mm-hmm.
not and like lose the sight that like this is just like, I'm just blown by how complete this project is,
Mm-hmm.
and how multifaceted you are as a writer for this to be your first project ever. That shit is
Thank
crazy
you.
to me.
Yeah.
Like it's like this is like it's like some like y'all really did a big one with this.
Thank
It's
you.
really fucking cool, like
Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah. And I thank you so much. I really can't I can't take this W without Esteban, because not
of
only because
course.
he put a battery in my back, he literally fed me and nurtured me, and like just I tell niggas, like, to me it's a collaborative effort completely. Like, while it is like my debut, is just like my friend really did his shit on that. He's so fucking super
Yeah,
talented. And even if niggas, it's great to listen to how we're talking about different ways that we interpret and listen to music. I'm like big on listening to the lyrics and listening to the
same.
details of something. And as I'm just like, I don't know, I just kind of listen to the way it flows together and kind of the rhythm, and we I think lean on each other for that now. Where it's like,
Yeah,
now I'm starting to adapt more of just how things connect, and this kind of this ride that it delivers. And he's a producer and an engineer, so obviously he's very detail oriented, but
of
listening to the
course,
other
yeah.
pockets of sound. So yeah, it's complete though, like that, because I literally remember niggas, specifically locally, begging me to release music, and I was like, you'll get it when you get it. Like shit, like don't like, but I remember I did a verse on my friend's project, and I forget exactly what the line was, but basically I was telling niggas, I'm like, you do not tell me what the fuck to do, I'm gonna make the music and release the music as I do,
Right.
and it's because like it was actually the end of that cycle. Like by the time that we're actually making the music, life was like, okay, you pass. Like I'm gonna get your foot, I'm gonna get my foot off your neck, and you can
Yeah,
write about it and you can release it because this chapter's done. And that's
it's your
literally,
time.
yeah, that's what it was. It was like we tied it up completely. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, so like, like to have this happen, and then for you to do your feature for the homie Jay Cinema on his
Mm-hmm.
project, and like
Shouts out
how
J
cool.
Cinema.
Yeah, nah, I literally just had him on the pod a couple days ago. That's the homie.
Yeah.
He's at like he's at every show in New York. Yeah, I love
Mm-hmm.
him. I love his spirit, and I
Well,
love his music. But
yeah.
like but yeah, nah, like it's I don't know, just I can tell, like, especially after having heard all of that, I can just tell that you're somebody who had always put a lot of thought into the writing, and like, yeah, like this is like, it's like pent up, like even if you already got it out and put it on paper, like
Mm-hmm.
giving it to people at this point, it's like that's the release,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
like this is all stuff you've been thinking on and knew, like even if you wrote it, like you're delivering it in the present, like you
Mm-hmm.
wrote it in the past, but you're delivering it in the present.
Yeah.
And seeing that, I don't know, like I told you this when I first reached out, but my favorite song on here is Inner Child.
Mm.
Like I
That's so
like
crazy.
that's like easily my favorite. Like I don't know, just like the beat is gorgeous. It's this like beautiful, like it's not just any one kind of rap song. It feels like it's like 3 or 4 different, like Esteban, if you're listening, bro, like
that beat's
yeah,
nuts, isn't it?
that shit's
beat's
crazy, man.
I
Like
knew right when he was working on it.
I get lost in it, honestly. Like that's the type of thing, like I'll walk around and just like listen to the way you flow through it, and just like, I don't know, like you're talking heady shit, you're talking cash shit, you're like, I don't know. It's just like the way the song moves and operates. It's just very easy to get lost in it and not want to give it up. Like, just because I'm curious, like, how did that song come together? Like, I have to ask, because it's the one I've been playing more than any other.
Man, so that was actually so ironic. That was written around the time of when I wrote Money, Mantra, and Reason. And I was just kind of like, again, documenting some experiences. And I like, I had I was like piecing it together and kept recording it over a beat. I don't know if you ever listened to Melanie Charles, but like I kept trying to sample. I like when I first ever started making beats, I was trying to sample like one of my favorite renditions of God Bless the Child, you know. Now, granted, it didn't come out, but that's what I was rapping over. You know, it was always very ethereal, existential, you know, or just kind of spacey, you know. Because it always just rolled out like a free verse poem, you know. Like I couldn't directly put, I kept trying to, sometimes I rap and I bring a lot of structure into it and a lot of patterns and catch a lot of different pockets and flows. But like that was just one thing where it was just like it just rolled out. And I had been sitting on that for so long. I knew that it had to be on the project though. I'm like, at some point, you know, like I'm trying, you can tell on that one, I'm trying to rap, but I kind of just can't. Like, I got to just let it out, you know? And that beat was the one for it, because I kept trying to catch like a pocket on that beat, but it didn't, you know, it just rolls out. So obviously those came together, and they may love the way they did because of, you know, how much you can't restrict what's being said and how this beat is being made. It just kind of rolls out. And I remember I had an issue with it. Like I kept telling Esteban, I'm like low-key, I don't have an issue with that song whatsoever. And I think that's just like the deepest, to me, seriously, the deepest part of the morning, you know, of that project. That whole project, to me, I wanted to create a space to mourn because it's never over, you know. It's like when if I return to it, that absolutely feels like it. And I listen to it, and it has so much space to do whatever that entails and count, you know, what it brings. And I uh I remember telling Esteban, I'm just like, I kind of just wish I could bring it more structure, but you know, it's just like I kind of like it, you know, it is what it is. And when I perform it, I have to be decisive where I perform it because it's so wordy. And, you know, like when people go to experience live music, especially because there is a exposition rising and climax and falling and resolution to the project, that like when you're experiencing it, that's like so long to people when you're live and performing, and everything that I'm saying is just so wordy that it's like a lecture, but like only, you know, the niggas really rap is not when they're like bouncing off the walls. It's when everybody's like, they pause and they listen, you know. And that song, I'm like talking so much shit, and if you're really listening, you know, it's great, but also you could just listen to the beat again. It's just like that one specifically, I love that you love it because like my relationship to it is really complicated.
You know, like I can tell by the way you're moving through it, because like, to me, I'm listening to it and I'm just thinking like, this sounds like some like Milwaukee or like DMV type shit, you know. Like it's like just in like the way you're flowing through it, and like, you know, you're talking about not being able to find a pocket, and like you did find a pocket, you know. Like
Right,
it's like, no, you know, like I'll be talking to people about like, you know, like for example, like the Tebe verse on the Cousteau song that everyone's been going crazy about. You know, like I play it for some people and be like, oh, that sounds, it's not on beat. And I'm like, y'all don't know what
Can't be
that means.
serious.
Well,
It can't be
like,
serious.
it's just like to me, I hear it and I'm just like, there's a pocket there. He's rushing. Like it's just like drumming. Like sometimes like sometimes the drum's gonna be completely like in lockstep with the beat. Sometimes you're gonna be rushing. Sometimes you're gonna be dragging. He's dragging. Like sometimes he's dragging and sometimes he's rushing. And like then you're just like you're like right in the middle of like rushing and dragging. Like you'll start and kind of like you'll kind of like be in lockstep for like a couple bars and then fall back a little bit and then jump forward a little bit.
Exactly.
And it's like you just like you like the thing I love about that type of style is that just like I mean there's percussion on the song. It's not like it's drumless. It's not like it's like a drumless loop or something, but like you just like created your own space in there. And it makes it, like even though like this beat is like I think like a lesser rapper would get consumed by a beat like that because it's so busy and it's so dynamic, but because you found your way through it, like it for me puts more of an emphasis on what you're saying and then play between that and the beat. And like that's once again, like people with 10 years, 15 years, 20 years your experience can't do that shit. So like that's like I think that's part of the reason why it connects with me a lot. Like I don't know, like yeah, it just
I really appreciate your explanation of that, because it felt natural. I'm telling you, bro, being in Esteban's space at that time, it was just like I remember, especially even with Sankofa, like those two tracks specifically, those slower.
I was gonna ask about that one too.
Yeah, just where there's so much space, it felt complicated, but it's so funny because it literally just came out. It just came out, and like I couldn't. I love when I get to rap and I get to, decide what the expression is going to be. And I think I've fallen in love with that so much because it comes with the strength. You can create characters that way, like that's why I like no sudden moves. And that's also kind of complicated too. But like those two songs on Kofa and Inner Child, it was like, I kept going back. I'm like, I don't know if I like it, which is crazy, especially to me with Sankofa because I've come to love it. But like, it's because there's just so much space, and I literally remember not being able to control my mouth. Like literally, just I know what I need to say, and it fell out, and I was just like, I was frustrated, but even when I perform it live, I found ways to have fun with that, and it's absolutely true. I did create my own groove, and I only realized that until I listened back to it, and I appreciate you shedding light on that, and like just noting an ability that I didn't know that I had to like kind of just comfortably flow with things, and it doesn't have to be such a grasp.
Yeah, and I want to say I appreciate you bringing up the just the notion of like like you listen to lyrics. I also listen for lyrics, but I also like as I get older I find myself listening more for flow too. And like to go back to the Earl Cousteau thing, like people being so surprised at him rapping the way he does and talking about the shit he talks about. Like I think a part of the reason why the Palestine line hit the way it did outside of being amazing is the fact that like a lot of people who had checked out by SRS didn't know that he was willing and able to make different kinds of music. They just assumed that he was just doing Doom cosplay for 10 years and then just popped out on some shit, but I say that to say that like flow will determine the way people listen to your lyrics. Like you could be you could be talking the craziest shit on a record, but if you're not like if the way you say it doesn't catch the ear, it's like it's gonna fly over heads, and then it's gonna be 5-6 years later like, oh, I didn't realize you were saying, like and that song hits the way it does because it just like it's butter and you're talking, it's that's and now you're talking about like before we formally wrap this up, like I wanted to touch on the live stuff because I know you've been performing a lot for a long time, but like especially now, just like everything with like the Viva Phoenix stuff, like that I've been like seeing all the other interviews you've been doing, like you've been and you're about to you're about to do another art exhibit / performance / photo opportunity thing really soon, like where you're gonna have people take pictures in front of something that looks like the cover, which is like
basically
love that.
Someone who operates a studio was like, what if we just like, I really love your project. And shouts out everybody who's just in my space, in my vicinity, who's been listening to the project. And I love the best thing, aside from, positive reception and meeting, connecting with an entire community, is people who feel inspired and bring it back to me, saying that it inspired them to create more. It's fucking amazing. But this studio specifically was like, yeah, I listened to the project and it's so vivid and visual to me that I'm trying to create a set based off of it. And I would love if you performed on the set. And we invited everybody who purchases a ticket to come in and they can take photos and stuff like that on the set. I'm just like, that's fucking amazing. Like, yeah,
That
let's
shit is
do it.
hard. Yeah.
So that's what's going down. Yeah, this Wednesday. But yeah, I have been performing hella and for a long time, but yeah, specifically this year, not only I think just, I'm in Phoenix right now. Phoenix is just on the up and up. It's really ripe. It's really,
Yeah.
really up, and just a lot of beautiful things. The cool thing is about Phoenix is like everywhere else you go, like there's so much history to, that are anchor points for what's going on and how relevant things are today.
Yeah.
Phoenix is
Yeah.
like things really it's so fresh and new, not only because it's the youngest state, but I believe so. It's also like super, super there's no cultural restriction here. Like a lot of people that come here have moved here from other states. Most people are
Mm-hmm.
actually really not from here. And everybody is kind of everyone here is keeping an eye out on creativity and lending and participating because we know that we want to build something. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because I never found myself as a contributor to that. I know I just be outside, but it's really beautiful, being a part of, when people are like, hey, like I am actively trying to do things and you are the perfect, basis for that. Like I appreciate your creativity. It's just super amazing how I get looped in. So yeah, a lot of shows off of the strength of that. And also just been like reaching out and connecting with a lot more people around me because like local like across the state, like when I was in New York, it was just like off the strength, like niggas I've been tapped in with for so long, longer than people literally that live next to me type shit. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That's kind of just like even I haven't done a show out there yet, but like me and Jay were in talks and other folks where it's just like it's with ease. I feel like it's also a very comfortable thing for me. I love performing. I love being around people, period. I love live music, period. So it's just like amazing. We're getting more intentional with the visuals of the project. Something I'm super excited about.
Right. That's cool as hell.
Yeah.
I wanna know a little more about that, but I'm like I'm stuck on the Phoenix, Arizona aspect of the whole thing because like I've known over the years I've come to know a handful of people from out there. Like my man Lando Chill from
Mhm.
Chicago. Well, he was out there for a good little minute. My good homies, Nate and Parker from Injury Reserve, like obviously
Mhm.
like they're from Arizona. They're amazing. They've been pushing boundaries for years.
Yeah.
Spirituals out there, if I'm even
Oh,
pronouncing his
spiritual.
name right.
Big shouts out
Yeah,
spiritual.
yeah,
Yeah.
see, yeah. See, I've been tapped in with spiritual. Like it's funny because I fucked his name up, but like I've known the spiritual since like him and my homie the Lasso put a project out years ago. So like that's how like
Okay.
I first got locked in with spiritual. He's fucking dope. I love him. Like
Mhm.
it's just like, and like I think that funnels into like what this project means to me because like you listen to there isn't just like one type of beat on here. It's just like, like the first song is this like very slowly rolled out, very
Mhm.
super duper iconic and super recognizable sample, and you just going
Mhm.
in over it completely unvarnished. And then
Mhm.
and then it's just like loops and interpolations and like these, like stuff like Inner Child that's this like, not any one thing. I don't know how it was made because I wasn't there, but it reminds me of, like I said, like 3 or 4 different kinds of rap music. And just
Mhm.
like, and just like imagining, because like I've never seen you perform, but like imagining you performing this album and
Mhm.
considering how different all the songs are, but
Mhm.
not in, but like not in like a market tested, let me try to make like the boom bap song and the trap song and the stingy song. You know, like it's not like it sounds more intentional is the wrong word, but it sounds more deliberate and more like of the heart than just like, let me test this and see if I sound good on it.
Right.
You know, so
For
like
sure.
I'm just curious like how that's translated, how this project's translated live for you.
Yeah. Well, as
You
I
know?
perform it more and more and more, and I remember doing rehearsals, you know, to this song, and um I'm having fun with my friends, you know, like we're in the middle of this warehouse, and this warehouse is like pretty iconic where we live. You know, there's always like a cool function. So I'm just kind of like
Yeah.
fucking around in different spaces, and you know, it's like my homie just brought his truck in the warehouse and put some speakers in the back. I'm just kind of like running around and shit. But like that fun that I invited to it, you know, or childlike energy that I brought to it kind of comes about like when I perform it too. And I never realized until I look back, and I always try to look back at like any footage that I have when I perform,
Yeah.
because I I realize how like I don't realize how into it I am, you know, and how like it's literally I I try not to feel overwhelmed, especially with certain songs, on how emotional they are, you know, like because I know exactly what moment happened that made me write that lyric. And
Yeah.
I try not to get sucked into that while I'm alive, but sometimes I'm literally like making the face that is so clear. Like something happened that made me say that the way that I just did, and even how I even got
Yeah.
here. And it's amazing. That's exactly like this assembly of moments that literally is this new moment is crazy. But um yeah, I when I perform it live, I started doing this new thing that I only did when I was performing at Viva Phoenix, where it's just like one of my favorite songs is Three Things You Can Hear, Four Things You Can Touch,
Mm-hmm.
because I like it's very lighthearted. It's a great um centering point to the project, and it allows me to breathe so much. And that's usually when I tell people, everybody, if they have water, like go ahead and drink some water. And then we roll into more fruit, and it's like a huge deep breath. And
Yeah.
like that's actually the shit that I end up like conducting while I'm live, you know, like breathing, laying on the ground, you know, like feeling exhausted, but also like getting back up, having energy, and just kind of like it literally is like as light as I can, you know, enacting the different stages of grief. You know, like
Yeah.
the nourishment, the unearthing, the fear, the anger, the spite. And that is pretty not track by track, but sequenced absolutely with everything that I'm writing, like in the project. It's like phase by phase is something that I realized very early on before the project even came out. I was like, this is like the different phases of grief,
Yeah.
almost, you know, bit by bit. So yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. You know, like, yeah, like that's the thing. Like grief is so much more than just sadness. Like there's obviously a lot of sadness and tension and frustration and anger on this project, but
Mhm.
there's also, like there's also just like joy and just kind of
Mhm.
taking, just kind of stepping outside of yourself and being like, oh, like I'm that bitch, like
Yeah, for sure.
just like in that way, like, like that's also a part of, like it's like a metamorphosis project. And it's like what one, like it's one of those that listening to it, I kind of feel like there are some songs here I feel like I shouldn't be hearing. It feels like
Hmm.
these are like yours and nobody else's, and you
They
just let
were.
us in. Yeah, like it's like that's just raw, like that's like, and
Hmm.
like not even in like the literal descriptive sense, but like that's just like raw. It's hard, it's tough, it's fire, like whatever
Hmm.
whatever words you want to
Both of
use.
them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's just I always take I always really like lock in on stuff like that when I can tell that it's like, oh, this, I'm not supposed to be hearing this, but I
Mhm.
am, and it makes me even more grateful to be able to hear it. And at some
Mhm.
point, I'm hoping to see this live because I don't know, like I imagine it's
Mhm.
gonna hit stupid, but
Yeah.
just seeing, like seeing you kind of jump out so formed and confident in yourself, and just like, this project is really special. Like, y'all did something really cool with this shit. So to see this happen so early, and to see you just like, to have spent the last damn near 2 hours talking
Mm-hmm.
to you about, like, I don't know, like, once again, it's crazy to me that this is the first thing you've ever made.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really not trying to gas it crazy, but
Mm-hmm.
it's impressive.
Thank
Like,
you.
it's like, it like bodes well for, like, you've got a bright future.
Thank
Like, if
you.
this is the
Thank you.
starting point,
Mm-hmm.
like like this, like the ceiling is the roof, or
For
whatever the
sure.
fuck, like,
For sure. Yeah. Thank you.
I just said the ceiling is the roof, the sky's the limit. There we
I
go.
we were on the same imagery. When you sent your hand up like that, I'm like, we're thinking the same thing. So again, spirit, I'm feeling.
The ceiling is the roof is some other dumb shit that doesn't apply to this. I'm sorry, but yeah, no, we got it, we got it. So I mean, like, I feel like this conversation could go on for another hours.
For real.
Like, this has been great, but
Yeah.
to not waste any more of your time. Jade, if your life was a movie, what would it be about?
If my life was a movie, I think I already have the title. It's As Above, So Below.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
It's absolutely I'm very aware that in my life there's this constant theme of hold on to this moment because it's going to connect to this next one. And the
Mm-hmm.
same thing that's holding you back is going to propel you forward, or the same thing that you're afraid of is going to make you, curious and lean into things. And like the things that are polar opposites in my life, like somehow the things that happen with my family lead to things that happen with complete strangers, or like being things that happen in my home, obviously connect somehow to like what happens in the outside world in my public life, like
Yeah.
it's very everything that's internal is external, all the joy connects to my sadness, and that's just the biggest thing. Like I actually wrote a story about this. It's not a spoiler because if you this is my magnum opus, if you will, is what people call it. Like before I even
Yeah.
started rapping, I wrote a story called Cleo's Ring, and I just refused to finish it because I don't think it's supposed to be finished right now. But like that's how some people online had known me, is because I was very dedicated to this story. So I called it Cleo's Ring before, but I really think As Above, So Below, and the the um the doppelganger, is that what it's called, like the catch 22 of events in life, like
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the deja vu that I experienced so much. That's kind of what my life, the movie, would be about in my
Yeah.
life.
Be about
Yeah.
patterns, and about just like how, yeah, like, it's so funny because there is a movie called As Above, So Below, and it's like a horror movie about like a colony of fucking, like, mole people that lives under like some European museum or so. I
Okay.
can't remember. It's
Okay.
not it wasn't very good. But
Yeah.
like, but like, all I'm saying that to say, this sounds better than the As Above, So Below that
Yeah.
I know about. And like, it's just like, that shit is important,
Mhm.
like, these
Mhm.
things, that's just how life speaks to you, like, it's just funny when, like, life is rhyming, like, you
Yeah.
rhyme, that's what you want to do, life is rhyming in front of you, and it's just like, I
Through
don't know,
me.
like, yeah, like, to me, that would just be one of those, like, divining moments where it's like, damn, like, why wouldn't I be doing this shit,
Right.
I like, yeah, it's like when life rhymes, it's just like, you gotta stop and listen and take it
Yeah.
in and acknowledge it and all that stuff. That's
Took the
cool as
words
fuck.
out of my mouth. I'm just like, it feels like stuff I didn't even choose to do. It's just like, and
Right.
I was thinking, I was like, man, I say it in funny ways too. Like whenever life starts, life and on me, I'd be like, man, I never had to rap. Maybe like I just have to be like, maybe I could have just been a teacher. I don't have to rap. Maybe I could be a model. I don't have to rap. Maybe I could be a, like just only when it's relevant to, like making decisions that pertain to it or stuff like that, because it's just been so
Yeah.
heavy on my mind. But like, yeah, it wasn't a choice. If this is something I've been doing, writing, ever since I was 7, 5, feeling my comfortable modality of communication, even before I decided to speak, was writing. Eventually I
Hmm.
was going to just begin to speak my writing, and it comes out as rap. And yeah, I think the expression, what I'm trying to invite with the next project, is how boundless the expression is, and still identifying how this part connects to like the patterns. What's the next part of this pattern?
Right. Yeah.
So
No, I like that. I'm excited to see however you decide to explore all these patterns, and just I don't know, like, thank you. Well, first off, thank you for your time. Thank you
mhm,
for the art and the intention that you already put into everything, and just like,
of course.
I don't know, like, thank you. I don't know, like, thanks for being just thanks for being intentional. I don't know, like,
Thank
not
you.
not 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 enough people, and not even just in the music, but just like in yourself. Like, I can just tell that you're very intentional, and like you think long and hard about shit. And like,
Yeah.
I guess somebody, I guess somebody who also feels exactly that way about writing. I feel like,
Mhm.
that's the reason I write, because like I feel like my thoughts, I talk a lot, but
Mhm.
like my brain can't always catch up with the things I want to say verbally. So I have an
Mhm.
easier time writing my thoughts. Like I'm on the spectrum. I didn't say my first words until I was 4. you
Got you.
know and
Yeah.
like it's because of music and movies that like I'm speaking. It's all I
Wow.
wanted to talk about as a kid.
Wow.
So I feel exactly where you're coming from, and it's
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, that was, thank you. That
Of
Yeah, this
course.
was
Thank
great.
you.
This was so much
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, this was really, really fun. And as a person, like I said, I'm not the biggest cinephile. Like, I was just happy because, there's so much points of media, but also just having a conversation with you through mutuals, like it's been amazing. It's been great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
nah, thank you. It was, yeah, like I said, just like, if it wasn't for Cass talking about you, I probably wouldn't have heard about it until the next one. But I'm happy. But like, I'm happy. I'm happy to be here now, and just like, I can't wait for what's next.
Yeah, I
Like,
was super excited too. I'm having fun too. So yeah.
Thanks for listening. Shout out to y'all for making it this far. And shout out to all the black people listening too, because y'all really impeccable. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell a friend to come through next time. 1.